Ain't nothing better than watching you smile. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ain't nothing better than watching you laugh out loud, my baby. Ain't nothing better than watching you be you. Ain't nothing better than right now. In your eyes lie the secrets I don't wanna miss. Put your hand.
A man could be an artist. Food, anything. Greci's art is death, and he's about to paint his masterpiece. Yeah, but, sweetheart, listen. Trust me, I wasn't looking at any other woman. I'm a one-woman kind of guy. I don't play those games. No, exactly. That girl was just a friend. A girl that I met at my job. She's nobody. I have eyes for you. Exactly. You and me, forever. Oh, wait a minute. Um, um, oh, my mother's calling. I'll call you back, okay? I gotta take this call. Trust me, sweetheart. I'll call you back. It's my mom. It's my mom. Trust me. I'll call you back. Okay. Bye-bye. Hey, baby. Yeah. You were looking good the other night. Yeah. Trust me. Don't worry about it. I smoothed it out with my girl. Trust me. She doesn't suspect anything. Yeah. Exactly. Well, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Okay. I took care of her. Trust me. She has no idea. Okay. Just me and you, baby. Okay. Trust me. Just give me a little time. I'll dump her and then just be you and me. Okay. Okay. Thank you, baby. You're such a sweetheart. Uh, uh, you know what, baby? Somebody just rang my bell. I gotta go answer that. I'll call you right back. Let me see who that is and get rid of it. Yeah, baby. Okay, I'll call you back, baby. Bye bye. I'm sorry. I was just, taking care of a little business. Um, since you're here and since it's Saturday night, let's continue the tradition. I have a few movies here. Let's review them. Okay. The first movie we'll review will be called All About Eve. This is a movie, I believe, 1950. I believe. Let me get this exactly right. Don't want to. I think it came out 1950. Let me make sure I get this exactly right. Yeah, 1950. 1950. This stars Betty Davis, Ann Baxter, George Sanders, Gary Merrill, who else? Marilyn Monroe's in this, Celeste Holm, and what else? What's the other guy's name? Hugh Marlowe and Gary Merrill. I think I said Gary Merrill's name anyway before. Anyway, this movie, All About Eve, is a famous movie. It's an old black and white Hollywood movie. Basically, the story is about an aspiring actress named Eve Harrington. That's why it says All About Eve. And the way she maneuvers her way into the life of Broadway star Margot Channing. Okay, Eve Harrington is played by Ann Baxter, who is, I'm trying to get you a picture of Ann Baxter in here because they have pictures in here. Let's see, so you can see who Ann Baxter is. Okay. And while Ann Baxter is, of course, it's her right there. If you can see that good enough. Ann Baxter, and see if we can get a clear picture of Ann Baxter. Yeah, wait, I think I'll have a nice clear picture. Yeah, there she is. Right there. Right there. That's Ann Baxter right there. And of course, Margot Channing is played by the great Betty Davis. There she is right there. Okay, like I said, the story basically is about Eve Harrington, who's an aspiring actress, how she maneuvers her way into Broadway star Margot Channing's life. Okay, and the life of her boyfriend, who's a director, Bill Sampson, and a playwright named Lloyd Richards, and his wife, which is his wife is named, I'm trying to get the lady is Karen, played by Celeste Holm. Okay, so let me give you the players in this movie. Bette Davis plays Margot Channing, the Broadway star. Anne Baxter plays Eve Harrington. George Sanders plays Addison DeWitt, and that's him right there. That's George Sanders right there. He's like a gossip columnist, or he writes about Broadway and stuff, and he's basically a gossip columnist. And then you have Gary Merrill, who plays Bill Sampson, the director, who's not Eve Harrington, Margot Channing's boyfriend. And I think there's a picture of them in here together. Let's see. I think there's a nice picture of them in here together. Okay, let's see. Okay, maybe I skipped that, but no matter. Anyway, basically, like I said, let's see. Yeah, I'm sorry, there they are. There's a picture of Margot Channing, played by Bette Davis, and Bill Sampson, played by Gary Merrill. Okay, and even on the back right there, you can see a young Marilyn Monroe. She plays Miss Coswell, who's basically like a date for Addison DeWitt. Anyway, like I said, this is basically the story of how Eve Harrington insinuates her way into Margot Channing's life, and basically to try to become a star. She's overly ambitious, and she comes in at first as sort of this milquetoast type of person, who's just a great admirer of Margot Channing. She's humble, and she's a great fan, and she even has this great story of how she was married and she became a widow by her husband died in World War II, and how she's used to see Margot in plays all the time, and how her greatest ambition is to be an actress, but she's humble. Like I said, she insinuates her way, after she gets introduction by Karen, played by Celeste Holm, who was a friend of Margot Channing. She introduces her because I think they even show you in the beginning of the movie how she stays outside the door of the Broadway, in the back, when she comes in. Like every night they see her there, and then she finally gets invited in, and then she ingratiates her way like into becoming, Margot's Channing's like assistant, and then she basically insinuates her way into her life, handling her appointments, everything else, and of course all the while she's slowly scheming on basically to try to become a star. Okay, she tries to act humble at first, and really the only two people that kind of figured it out about that, and that Eve Harrington is not the sweet innocent girl that she is two people. There's a Bertie, who's played by Thelma Ritter, who's sort of like the housekeeper, confidant of Margot Channing, played by the great Thelma Ritter. I think she's great in the part as Bertie. She kind of figures out Eve Harrington, from the get-go. She kind of figures out how this girl's really trying to be humble, but she's really, ambitious. And then also, the person that figures it out also is Addison DeWitt, played by George Sanders, okay, which is that guy right there, George Sanders, right there. He actually does a little investigation. He actually witnesses a scene of when Eve doesn't know anybody's looking, of her showing her true character, and also he does a little investigation, and he really finds out, and he basically helps her along to become, because he recognizes that Eve has talent, and he, and he's the ultimate snob, and besides being a gossip columnist, so he figures he can attach his wagon to Eve and be there when she becomes famous and blows up and becomes a big star. And the acting in this movie is just top notch, from Bette Davis to Anne Baxter, specifically George Sanders too, is outstanding as Addison DeWitt. Okay, and even Marilyn Monroe in her little part, she's like a date for Addison DeWitt, Miss Coswell, that's her character's name, and she's only in the movie a little bit, but she makes quite a presence right there. Marilyn Monroe, and she's really actually quite funny in her small part. But Bette Davis is great as Margot Channing, who's, like I said, at first she's sympathetic to Eve Harrington, and she thinks, oh, okay, this is a young kid who had a few rough breaks, and she's a big fan of me, so I'll give her a break and let her become my assistant and stuff, but then she slowly comes to realize that Eve Harrington is only looking out for herself, and starts to resent her, of course. And of course, takes, Celeste Holm plays Karen, the friend. She's like the wife of the playwright, Laurie Richards, played by Hugh Marlowe. And of course, she's kind of naive to Eve's manipulations, but then she slowly, sees what Eve's all about. And it's just a great movie. Like I said, and Anne Baxter is just great, being all humble at first, and then they show a scene where she basically reveals her true nature, of course, and then actually there's a couple of scenes where she reveals her true nature and how she's like how she can turn it on and off on a dime, being nice one minute and just an absolute absolute bitch the next. I saw the behind the scenes making of All About Eve, and they explain how studio wanted Betty Davis they had Betty Davis for Best Actress and Anne Baxter for Best Supporting Actress. That's where the studio wanted, but Anne Baxter wanted to be put into the Best Actress category, not the Best Supporting Actress category, and they both wound up losing to Julie Holliday from Born Yesterday, because they said a lot of people, they split the vote between Betty Davis and Anne Baxter, and then if Anne Baxter just would have took Best Supporting, she probably would have won, and Betty Davis would have won for Best Actress. But I guess it is what it is. I guess, like I said, Anne Baxter wanted to be, she thought she was just as good, and she is good in this movie and stuff, but maybe she should have, been a little bit more humble, but that's just my opinion. Okay, but anyways, it's just a great movie, and like I said, George Sanders actually won Best Supporting Actor. He won the Best Supporting Actor on it, Oscar, and Joseph Mankiewicz, who wrote and directed this movie, he won for Best Screenplay and Best Direction, and I think it also won Best Picture, and I think 2 other awards. Anyways, it's a great movie, All About Eve. Definitely worth getting. Okay. The next movie is The Proposition, starring Guy Pearce, Ray Winston, Danny Houston, John Hurt, David Wenham, and Emily Watson. Basically, the story of this takes place in rural Australia in the early 1900s. There's a notorious gang going around called the Burns. It's called the Burns. What's it called? The Burns Brothers gang, I guess you can say it. Anyway, led by Arthur, who played by Danny Houston, and you also have Charlie and Michael. I think that's the guys. Charlie and Mike. Charlie's played by Guy Pearce, and in the beginning of the movie, Charlie and Mike have split off from older brother Arthur, who's gone into the mountains, I guess, to his hideout, and you see Captain Stanley and his men. Captain Stanley is played by Ray Winston. They capture Charlie and Mike after a nice bloody shootout. They capture Charlie and Mike, and basically he tells them. Captain Stanley tells Charlie, he said, "You know who I am, right?" And he said, basically, your younger brother Mike here is going to hang by the neck, okay? Unless you say, I'll make you a deal, okay? You hunt your older brother Arthur and kill him within the 9 days before Christmas, okay? And then I'll give you and your younger brother Mike a pardon, okay? That's the deal, okay? He makes him a deal that he's going to do that, okay? These this gang, this Burns brother gang is notorious. They even explain, that they actually raped a pregnant character named Mrs. Hopkins and slaughtered her and her family. And so, basically, when they bring the young Mike back into town, of course, people are discussing and throwing rocks at him and everything else, and they lock him up. And of course, this Captain Stanley, you get a great performance out of Ray Winston. He's trying to tame. I think he even mentions to somebody, I forget who he mentions it to, that he's going to try to tame this wild, crazy town. Okay, and you have all these outside forces that he's trying to basically hold it together, because he has, they have these attacks by the Aborigines up in the mountains, and they have all the people in town that he has to try to, and his own men are basically doubting him, because, like I say, he caught Charlie and Mike, and then he let Charlie go, and he only told, Charlie, he made the deal with Charlie, so as far as anybody knows, he let Charlie goes. So they, of course, people are doubting him and stuff. And of course, into this comes he's married. Captain Stanley's married to Emily Watson's character, who's like a proper English lady, who he's trying to shield from the harsh realities of where they are. You know, rural Australia. You know, where everything's crazy and death is could be at any turn. You know, he's basically trying to shield her from the harsh realities of the situation. And you have David Wenham. He plays, I think, in a sort of a government British official who comes to town and basically, you know, because he's heard the rumor that he let, you know, he had captured both Burns brothers, but he let one go. And of course, so he's basically telling them, listen, oh, yeah, there's killing going on. You're gonna have to, take care of this. He basically is trying to tell him how to do his job, of course, which he resents, and he's under a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. Okay, and he's like I say, he's trying to keep his wife shielded from this, and he has the pressure, and then plus his men that work for him are doubting him and are really disgusting bastards. That he has to basically keep in line, because like I said, they're tormenting young Mike Burns that's locked up with that he's going to hang and everything else. And then there's a really brutal. Oh, well, I won't talk about it. Well, I mean, I'll talk about it. I'll come to it later. So you have basically in this story you have Charlie, played by Guy Pearce. You have his story, him going into the mountains looking for his brother, his older brother, supposedly to kill him, and I guess bring him back so he can save his younger brother Mike from getting hung. And then of course you have Captain Stanley and the town people and everything else that goes all along there. So it's it's flashing back the stories, bouncing back between those two stories, and you have really great performances. This movie is, I mean, it is bloody, but it's not bloody all the way through. I mean, just in certain moments it's bloody, but you have top-notch acting from especially Ray Winstone as Captain Stanley. Like I said, he's under all this pressure. He's trying to shield his wife from the harsh realities that they're in, and he's basically trying to handle David Wenham's character, who's this snob of a government official who's trying to basically tell him how to do his job. And you get a great performance from Guy Pearce, you see his conflict that he has to basically, to save his younger brother, he has to go catch up with his older brother, played by Danny Houston, to try to basically to kill him, and you don't know how that's going to play out. And Emily Watson is good as the young wife that who's trying to basically she's trying to help her husband, but he's really trying to cut her off from the harsh realities of what they're. But she's headstrong, so she's of course always trying to find out what's going on. And also John Hurt has a small part as sort of a drunk. I'll leave it at that. And it's a really, really good movie, really good Western. Sort of reminds me of those old, like I said, like Sergio Leone kind of Westerns and stuff. Like I say, there's a lot of tension, and then you don't know what's going to happen from one moment to the next. And just really brutal violence when it happens. It's like, so the violence is not all the way through, but when it happens, it is pretty brutal. Okay, and like I said, just a really good movie. Okay, definitely highly recommend this. And like I said, my friend had recommended this movie to me years ago, and I bought the DVD, but I didn't watch it. Okay, so then I saw the Blu-ray on sale a few months ago, I think for like $5.99 or so, $7.99, and I bought it and got rid of the DVD. And this movie definitely worth getting. Just a really good, really, really good movie. Highly recommend that. There you go. Like I said, it's bloody when it happened, and you have great performances from the cast in this. And it's a really, really good movie. So that's my reviews. That and also All About Eve, two great movies. Highly recommend both of those. Okay. So let me know what you think. If you've seen these movies, feel free to leave your comments down below. And this is Trepacer saying so long and take care. And I have some business to get back to. Yeah, baby. I'm back. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, there was nobody, nobody important. Some guy, Jehovah's Witnesses at the door. Don't worry about that. What were you talking about? Oh, yeah. You looking sexy. Yeah. Oh, yeah.